Yo! What is up, peoples? I am here with Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Number 1, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Number 2, I've played Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts series, more than any other series games or what have you. This is my third most played game in the series, and this is just something I think I can start this series on because I have access to record it. I plan this to be. I do plan to do both the Sora story and Riku story, and yeah, and just try to give about the best let's play or walkthrough I can possibly give on this game, because I do know quite a lot about all the Kingdom Hearts games, and it just, all that knowledge just builds. The thing with this game is that I've played it both on the GBA version, which is this version, and the PlayStation 2 version, in which I can give tips on both versions. But more particularly, I'm a kind of guy who goes through this game on only on 80 HP, which, if you don't know what that means, 80 HP is the default health in this game. So it's a challenge, and I'll be showing how to basically just, I wouldn't say like cheat through the game, but it's just like my methods will make the game so much easier. Like some of the toughest bosses, I can just whoop it out. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't think I'll be getting too much into the story, because if you're watching this, then you probably already have played the game. It only makes sense. So let's get started with this. We have Castle Oblivion, which was made in Birth by Sleep. After this is what the Land of Departure became in Birth by Sleep. It became Castle Oblivion, which that is what I think happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this game takes place right after Kingdom Hearts 1, and kind of conjuncts with 358 and a half days, but this comes first before that game, and then there's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 2, I mean. So, unlike any other Kingdom Hearts game in the series, this is the only Kingdom Hearts game that has a completely different combat system, in which you're using cards to battle. And I personally don't prefer it, but I really like some of this, and we'll get onto it as the more we get into the game. Should all make sense soon enough. So, for the longest time, I always wondered, who this person was that always kind of guided you in the beginning of the game, sort of. I didn't realize who it was until the PlayStation 2 version came out, and I heard the voice in the cutscenes, and I was like, "Oh, this is this guy is the final boss." Spoilers. I'm gonna just spoil the whole game here. Well, not here, but just throughout me playing this, I'm just gonna say things that are gonna come up ahead of time, and hopefully you've played this game before. So, yeah. Stuff and stuff and stuff. this is a card, and we use it. This whole thing is just, this whole game is just based around cards. That's just everything. I don't know why. I don't know why, my Kingdom Hearts team would decide to do this, but it's just there. We'll venture on forth into the tutorial, or basically this whole this world right here is pretty much a tutorial. So there's that. This town is an illusion conceived by your memories ingrained in that card, and that's a huge plot point into why this game is called Chain of Memories, because you're in this castle Oblivion, and the more you go on, the more you lose, but the more you gain. So Sora is gonna lose more and more memories from Kingdom Hearts 1 as he travels through this castle Oblivion. But as he travels through this castle Oblivion, all these different worlds, he's gonna gain new memories from it. Not exactly that they will replace the old memories, but it's just kind of how the grand scheme of this game works. So here we're just learning basic combat, and you press the A button to use your card. This guy will just block all your moves. You can't kill him or anything unless you use like a hack code, in which I saw, and it's pretty much gets you up to like level 23 or some crap like that. B button, dodge roll, think to yourself, and then use the cards. You just press the A button and just attack. But in the PlayStation 2 version, you can actually extend your combo out to be a lot more slower. In the GBA version, you don't have that option. You kind of just have to button mash to get the good combo, like this. You can't slow down the combo like you can in the PlayStation 2 version. Okay, I've just realized the mistake of me not recording the audio here with the game, so I just did that right there. Okay. And you reload the cards by holding down the A button. That's only on that loader count, and it goes up to 3. So the more you load it, the longer it's going to take until about the 3rd time you load it, then that's as slow as it's going to get. There are ways to get around that, like items and certain enemy cards, so that we'll get onto later. And we can change categories. These are just your regular cards. You press select, and those will be your enemy cards. Enemy cards are just big in this game. It's just it's there. And Donald and Goofy have changed attire, as they're about to say here. And as we go on, Jiminy's journal is actually the pages will disappear. Like Jiminy's journal, remember in the first game, it took track of everything you did in Kingdom Hearts 1. But then as you go through Castle Oblivion, it's going to be, the pages are going to suddenly be all blank, and then he's going to start writing down new stuff that happens here. Same thing with Sora's memories and Donald and Goofy's, and I believe it doesn't affect Riku as much, but I'm pretty sure that it does affect it at a certain point when we get to his story. You're getting to Riku's story after doing Sora's here. So it's basically, you're kind of getting 2 games in one. And, Sora's right. All you really gotta do in this overmap layer is pretty much what do you call it? Go up to a door and hit it, and you use the cards correctly, and you move on to the next thing. It's because this is that's pretty much the only card that you get Yeah, so this is a card to like I believe they call it an event card, and that'll take you on. There's about there's 4 different event cards if you really want to put it that way. This is the first one, in which usually you'll just have 3, and then the 4th one is just a bonus room somewhere in each world. But basically every world has 3 of these. I believe there's 1 or 2 worlds where there's only 2 of them. 2 main event ones. Oh, we'll get to that. This is the key of beginnings. This Moments Reprieve, Moments Reprieve, where you can access a save point. That's basically what that card does. And you'll get a bunch of different, they're called map cards. There's a bunch of different map cards, and they all lead you to rooms with different consequence, I should say, or different benefits and stuff. And how I dictate what cards I'm gonna use, we'll get to that soon enough. Yeah, we can save our game. We only can get 2 save files, and they're explaining quick save right there, in which when you quick save, you'll just start where you just left off when you reload the game. And now let's hit this barrel. Please let it be Blizzard, and it's not, son of a bitch. Yeah, Blizzard's kind of important at first here. Trying to strike the Heartless, I failed. I usually don't, but all well. And so you get into battle here, and when it comes to, what enemies, when you kill enemies and they drop experience, you probably want to get that, because it's not going to gather around you, and it's going to disappear soon eventually. You always want to get the most experience that you can get, because level ups are good. We're just never going to upgrade our HP. So, that said, let's go on to the next room. Yeah, so if you notice that each room has one of these numbers, you can't do in that room. Every room has a number on the door, and I usually dictate by just putting the exact number on there, because when you get on later on in the game, there's certain card requirements that you'll need. Like it says you need a specific category of a map card on top of the number. So I usually just go with the number itself, and other variables in which I dictate, in which we can get on later once we got a lot more map cards and we look on the world map. These worlds will get bigger the more we continue on to Castle Oblivion. So there's that. We review our deck, and these are the decks. Add cards, remove cards, all that good stuff. As for right now, in this stage of the game, we're basically relying on just normal attacks. I like to put my 0 cards right at the end, and that's for a certain reason, in which we'll get to soon enough. But basically, I like to, if it's all the same kind of attack card, like this is the Kingdom Key attack card, I just like to put it off in numbers, because the higher the number, the better you're going to be able to hit the attack. Pretty much right now, in like the 2s and 1s and 3s, enemies can deflect those cards, because they have cards that are higher than that. That's the downside of having all lower numbered attack cards, and which there'll be a tutorial talking about that and whatnot. So let's get into, I'll show off this first room, I guess. And so basically, when you hit an enemy outside of battle, you'll be able to stun the group of enemies for whatever enemies appear up first. So that's a good benefit. And for every battle that you win, you'll get another map card. It's completely at random. Or you might get an enemy card, in which the enemy card is something very this is a completely different topic, in which we'll get to soon enough. I'll get to soon enough. Alright, and we just leveled up for the first time, and in this game, it's not like the game picks your stats for yourself. You get to pick your own stats for yourself, so you can go all HP, you can go all CP, or you can do what I'm going to do, is never upgrade my HP and always upgrade either my slates or my CP. In this case, I'm going to get myself a slate, and slates are just abilities when you stack up cards together. This one is sliding dash, and it's 3 attack cards of the same type. The total value should equal to 10 and 5, and I hope you know your math here, because this is where your math skills come into play. So we need a total of either 10 to 15. So for example, I'm going to put 5, 4, and 4, in which that's 9, 13. That's up to 13. So yes, I will be able to perform a sliding dash attack, which I like to do as of right now when I have it on enemies, because they're stunned. I can just get away with doing that. It works better when there's a more group of enemies around. See how my attacks are not all getting in. These enemies, Blue Rhapsodies, though, this magic card won't work against them, so I'll just reload my deck. So yeah, an item card can reload my deck depending on what it is. If it's a potion of some sort, then it'll reload my attack cards in a certain way. If I use an ether of some sort, then it would reload my magic cards, and elixirs are both attack and magic without having to, reload the counter or that thing. And these knights, these are shadows. This will work against it, except for magic cards didn't miss. There's that. And we got another level up. Boost up the CP. CP is short for card points. And the CP, as you can see right here, where it says 271 out of 300, it just based like every card that you add to your deck, it costs a certain amount of card points, in which you can put in here. So if you go over the limit that you if you go over the limit that you've been leveling up, you won't be able to use that deck because you don't have the right amount of CP for it. So CP is very good for as we go on, and especially for this 80 HP run, because we're going to be using a lot of cards that cost a large amount of CP. Why? Because some of the best cards cost the most CP. Right now is what we're using. We're using about the weakest cards in the game, which doesn't use much. Oh my god, I just want to use Blizzard on this. Okay. Magic cards. Alright, now the area is cleared. We can now get on to, start hitting stuff and jumping on stuff and getting other things in this room. These red orbs are Moogle points, in which you'll come into effect later. Get as many as you can. Trust me, they are useful, and will get you more cards. Usually you can get more cards out of hitting stuff and whatnot, as well as green orbs, which heal up your health outside of battle. Alright, now that we have more cards here, how I dictate what card to really use, I look around where it says on the bottom right corner about card info, and I see, okay, so Tranquil Darkness, we got a 3 and a 7. Teeming Darkness, we have a 0. Feeble Darkness, we have a 1. And Sleeping Darkness, we have a 3. And so I'm most likely going to use a Tranquil Darkness or Sleeping Darkness. And I'd rather use a Teeming Darkness, but I haven't used a Sleeping Darkness yet, so I'll use that one. So I just kind of, it's more like I kind of just like, bounce around the different kinds of cards that I use. I don't like to use too much of the same card. Now the effect of Sleeping Darkness is, yeah, as I said before, each map card has a different effect. The thing with Sleeping Darkness is that, in the PS2 version, you actually see this Heartless are sleeping, but this is basically what the Heartless are doing right here. They will not attack you. You have an open fire to attack them at first, and that's the benefit of this room. Another benefit is that there's hardly any enemies in this room, so if you just want to, just get through a room and get, not that much experience and not have to go through a bunch of different Heartless, then you choose this room. I chose it because I hadn't used one yet, and it matched up with the number on the door, which is just convenient. Other effects of other map of nope, you don't want to go there. Other map cards: Tranquil Darkness, as it says in the description, a room where only a few Heartless appear. That's basically it. It's a small room with, a little bit, with a little amount of Heartless. Sleeping Darkness, a room where Heartless are drowsy or easy to ambush. Teeming Darkness, a room where many Heartless appear. There's a certain benefit to that, and then your chances of an enemy dropping their enemy card is increased. So that's what Teeming Darkness is mostly useful for. But it's basically a large room with a lot of Heartless in them. Feeble Darkness is when all the values of normal Heartless cards are deducted by 2 card points, and I'm sorry, minus 2 value to their card. So, for example, if a Heartless uses a 5 card, then they're going to now use a 3. All their cards are going to be 3s in this room. It's a small room with a little amount of Heartless, and all their cards are deducted by 2 on their values. If I explained that right. Oh, that hit no one. I don't plan to be showing every battle in this walkthrough, playthrough, let's play, whatever. I'm just showing, this first kind of beginning part of the game, just to, get an idea of it. Meeting Ground, it will increase the value of the friend cards, so like Donald and Goofy. Their cards will now drop with a higher value of their card. Man, I'm not getting... Oh, there's a card. There's a cure. Okay. Let's move on. So yeah, we got event cards, which this is the key beginnings. This is our first event door, and you can always know that they're there because they're marked with the crown on top of the door, as well as they are these yellow rooms on the map. You can always press select to go straight to the world map or go on the menu. Alright, a 1. Looking around, only Feeble Darkness has a 1, so I'll just use that. Not like it really matters on these doors, unless you're skipping certain rooms in the world, in which that doesn't apply in this world. But usually when you get onto the bigger worlds, and there's rooms that you like skipped over somehow, and there'll become a certain point where the cards that you use against an event door will put you into that room automatically that you haven't opened yet. Makes more sense the more we go into the game. We found Leon from Final Fantasy VIII. Castle Oblivion. Well, Castle Oblivion is a really big fucking castle if we can fit all of Traverse Town into it. Acts like he doesn't know his name, and then he does remember his name. And he's like, how do I remember your name? Because the memories of Kingdom Hearts 1 are mostly in effect. The more we go on, the less and less they're just gonna dissipate in each world. It's like, even though we might visit some worlds in this game, in Kingdom Hearts 1, the characters will forget that they ever met Sora, Donald, or Goofy in them. This is the only world where they're pretty much remembered by the people in the world. That is Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. Great game. Like most Final Fantasy games. Well, they're all great. It's just personal preference on which one's the favorite or not. Better teach you how to Dougie. Better teach you how to protect yourself in battle or whatever. Alright. See the number printed on your cards. They range from 0 to 9. Higher cards mean stronger cards. Well, duh. If your enemy both play a card at the same time, the higher card wins. That's why higher cards are... That's why, cards like 2 or 1 don't really work in this situation. This is not even my deck. The game gives you a random deck for this tutorial. As you can see, he's got 9 cards. I put down a 5. He reflects it with a 9. I put down a 6. He can't reflect it with a 1. It's pretty basic. However, 0 cards break any value. It doesn't matter if the guy's got a full-on 27. 27 is the maximum value you can have for cards when you stack them up for like a slate. A 0 can break any card, and that's why 0 cards are valuable. And as he explains here, the 0 cards are special. No matter what no matter what card the enemy plays, you can break it with a 0 card. But you have to wait until after the enemy plays their card, because if you play a 0 card, any card can beat that card. But if someone plays any amount first, you can deflect it with a 0 card. There's a better way of explaining that. Stocking cards. And I should have explained this, but stocking cards, you press L and R together simultaneously. The sum of your 3 stock cards becomes the value you play. The value is usually high and hard to break. Oh my god, what is up with this? When I was doing my run, this tutorial, like, it's doing like some weird camera shit. I mean, the background's like all derped. I'll just use this so that can be done. And then you press L and R again to execute that combo or slate or whatever. So while you use slates, another thing to keep in mind is that when you reload your deck, you're going to lose the first card of each slate that you get, unless you use a certain item card to get it all back, and that comes later on in the game. But as for now, the first card that you use, you won't get it back in every slate. And we got the Summoning of Simba and the Key of Guidance, which is the next event card. Key of Guidance. Oh yes, we got another Blizzard card. That's good. That's very good. Blizzard is very helpful in this early part. Well, Blizzard is helpful in future parts of the game too, but oh, we can fit everything. Oh, good. Oh, I know that's. So we got that. There. So let's say when I'm using a slate that I stack up 5, 4, 4 to use sliding dash, I'm gonna lose this 5 lose this 5 for the remainder of the entire battle, because that's just how the rules of the game work. You lose the first card of every slate for the rest of the battle, unless you use a special item to get it all back. Or I think there's an enemy card that prevents that. I could be wrong. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so we have a 4 here, and usually what I do here is that I just pick the closest number that is to that. So I believe the next room we need a green card, so I won't waste that. Let's use a Tranquil Darkness. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot it has to be higher than 4, as it says here. It doesn't say lower than 4 or, any card you want. Well, a 0 card does work in this case, so we'll use a 0 because Teeming Darkness is pretty good. So in the room of Teeming Darkness, it's a big room with a lot of Heartless. I almost got into a battle right there. Room with a lot of Heartless, and it's a large room, as well as the drop rate goes up on if enemies will drop their own card or not. Now, how do you get enemy cards? Well, let's talk about that. Teeming Darkness is one of those rooms where you can get enemy cards easier. You can find enemy cards in other rooms, but the drop rate is greater here. So let's say, not now, if I want a certain Heartless, let's say Blue Rhapsody that's what those blue guys are called. I want Blue Rhapsody as an enemy card. I'm gonna save those enemies or that enemy till as the last enemies in the area, like right here, how they're the only enemies left. I'm gonna save those. I'm gonna leave them there and get the enemies first, and then get them last to try and get their card. That's how you specify that out, and then from there it's just all about luck and chance and other stuff like that. So for now like right now I'm going for a knight enemy card. I believe they're called knights. They look like knights. So I'll just defeat them as the last enemy. And would you look at that? Oh, they're called soldiers, my bad. I got a soldier card, which will come useful later on in the game. And this enemy card, it adds an extra hit to the normal combo, so it's like an air. So it's pretty much an air slash air. It's a ground combo plus air combo plus. So instead of a combo being 3 hits, it's now going to be 4 hits, and that applies both to ground combos and air combos. So that's that, and I plan to be getting also the Shadow and Blue Rhapsody and Blue. Alright. The Shadow and Blue Rhapsody enemy cards, because those are going to be useful and they're really easy to get right now. They're probably the easiest enemy cards to get in the game. So I will do that. I will clear all the enemies in the rest of the world, and next time we'll just blast through the event rooms. So see ya.